the commitment June of 2019. June of 2019. So coming up on 2 years is pretty crazy. So really like a year and 9 months, I think. Which to me is a piece of cake, honestly, because if I don't feel like I connect with somebody, I don't want to do it anyway. Like before, I said I did it involuntarily just cause for almost 2 years, and it was like, it is what it is, right? So I feel like it's a piece of cake so far. Once I get around somebody I like, sis.
That's when the real challenge is going to happen, sis.
Okay. So I'm all like, yeah, everybody, hold it down. Make sure you lift yourself up by not giving it away. Girl, when I get around somebody, I don't even know. But I have an accountability, thank God. My sister circle, I love them. So I'll be able to get in a chat and be like, y'all, I want to bust this man down right now. And they'll keep me accountable. But yes, so it's been almost 2 years. It'll make 2 years in June. I am celibate. I am a believer in God, believer in Jesus. Whatever you call God, whatever you call Jesus, I do consider myself to be a mix between religious and spiritual, because if you think about it, like religion is man-made. Ultimately, God is a spirit. He's not religious. Religion is man-made. But I do practice in my faith. Yes, girl. Okay. I do practice in my faith. And I made the commitment to God, which is helping me keep it, because I know like who I made the commitment to. Right. Yeah. So yeah.
I love that. And I love how you are kind of doing it for both reasons, both your spiritual self and your religious part of you. So I love that. And before I get into my next question, I just want to let everybody know who's watching. Feel free to ask questions if you have any, and we'll try to get to you guys. But the next question I had, well, actually, before I get into the next question, I myself am not celibate.
Okay, I was going to ask you, like, do you have any, have you thought about it?
Girl, like, yes, I have thought about it. So, I've never taken a vow of celibacy. I've had periods and times in my life where I've abstained involuntarily, but I feel like for the most part, since I started having sex, I pretty much was consistent throughout, my adult life. But lately, I have had this feeling that like maybe I need to stop, reflect, and take a pause. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And I'm considering it. Let's just put it like that. I'm considering it. So far, the last time I've had sex was in December, early December, and I really have no desire. And I don't know if that's just because, like you said before, I haven't met anybody who has literally, like, tickled my fancy or triggered me to want to explore that. But at this point, I'm just tickled my fancy. At this point, I'm so turned off by like certain things with men that I'm just like, I have no desire. But that's where I am in my sexual stage right now in my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like that's fair. Like, I don't know how people who are still virgins, who are celibate, operate. Like, clearly maybe they had something different that inspired them to do it, but girl, I was throwing it back. I was busting it open, okay? And then I had like a breaking point.
Yes.
Where I was like, and I was actually in a relationship when I was like, no.
That's interesting. You were actually in a relationship where you had that relationship. Okay, we're going to talk more about that. We're going to talk more about your kind of epiphany moment in a couple questions from now. But that's interesting. I really want to expound on that. So next, I wanted to ask you, like, what made you decide to create your vow of celibacy, or however it's worded? Like, what made you kind of say, like, all right, this is it?
Okay, so maybe I could tell you now why. But before I had my breaking point, it's so strange. So I don't know if some people might think I'm crazy, but I think if you practice in faith, or if you are a very intuitive person, you'll get what I'm saying. Right. So sometimes I receive like divine messages, and I know it's divine messages because I would not think of it. Like it's like flipping. It's like an airdrop of a message. And I'm like, what? And usually I don't want to do it. So previous times in my life, I just heard like celibacy and I was like, absolutely not, right? And I had heard it more than once and seen things about it more than once. And I'm like, why am I feeling pulled to this? But I know I don't want to do that. I'm like, what is this about? Fast forward, I was like, yeah, no, no. Fast forward, I'm in this relationship and it always was unhealthy, right? But I was like on cloud 9. That's why I was so into that one episode that you had about like different sorts of manipulation and this, that, and the third. So it was a very unhealthy situation. And I started really trying to understand how it snowballed and my part in it and how it was helping it move forward and the different kind of anchors that were holding me in the situation. And sex was absolutely like one of the top 3. Girl, sister,
baby girl.
Right. And sex was in one of the top 3. And I'm like, okay. Celibacy again was like airdropped. And I was like, all right, God, you got me to listen. You got me to listen. Message. You got me to listen. I'm going to open the email and I'm going to respond. To whom it may concern, tell me a little more about this. So then I started like doing my research and then I started understanding the different ways that sex kind of, maybe I'm jumping forward, but that was my breaking point. So I was in a situation, I had received the messages before and I ignored it. And then I was in a relationship that really was not healthy and sex was one of the really big anchors in the relationship. And I was like, all right, might have to do the celibacy thing. And once I started really learning about how sex attributes to relationships, relationship building, connection building, I was like, damn.
Makes sense.
Damn. Yeah. So
yeah, girl. And it's like I kind of want to touch on what you said in regards to the situation being unhealthy and the sex kind of being like, well, I can't go nowhere. I do believe that is by design. That is by design. People who are master manipulators are, I think they literally study how to please you. Like I'm so convinced they study.
That's the thing I still struggle with. I don't know if they study it or if they really just don't know and are just like that. I don't know, girl. But okay, girl, keep going.
I don't know. I think from my experience that some of them, like, they study you, they study what you like, and they become exactly what you want. Whether that be in love or in the bedroom.
This is true.
And so when it comes down to you saying, like, I need to get out of here, it'd be hard because you like, who I'm going to find to do it from the back like this.
Right? And then they turn the dial up when they know you about to, girl.
Yeah. So that's why I personally think that is by design, but you really cannot let it get to you. But it's hard not to let it cloud your judgment. And that's why it's like I understand why certain women like yourself are saying, you know what? No mas. No more. I'm not doing it no more, you know?
Hit the brakes on this.
Pump the brakes. But how soon do you usually let people know you are celibate when you first start talking to them? And what does that conversation look like, girl?
I knew you was gonna ask me this. And I didn't actually know, y'all, but I just was thinking it earlier, like, damn, what questions is she gonna ask me? Because I was nervous, right? And I was like, I feel like she gonna ask me how I let people know. And it's childish. So I'm almost like ashamed to tell. It's childish. It's childish.
It's a safe space.
Girl, they gonna judge me. Okay, so I started dating again like early Rona, which is weird, right? Because everybody like stopped doing stuff, and I was like, I think I'm gonna get back in the game, right? Early Rona,
right? And
I had went out on a couple like quarantine dates, which is mostly outdoor stuff, and it was easy here because it's like outdoor stuff. So this is how I did it. I would wait until the second or third, but usually second date. This is so childish. I don't know if you play like conversation games with your dates, but I really enjoyed 21 Questions. I always did, right? And like, of course, it starts like, what's your favorite color, right? Like dumb stuff like that. But then it just elapses. It gets more and more interesting. And then I have a rule when I play 21 Questions. You can't ask me what I asked you. So it escalates very quickly. One of my questions is always, would you ever date somebody who's celibate, because I know it's so childish, because I want to see a genuine reaction. Like I don't want them to know I'm celibate, and I don't want them, because if they are manipulators, they're going to coax their answer so that they can get in the drawers anyway, right? And then maybe they're just people who are afraid to be upfront.